so much of what you just talked about is really matters of how the church relates to its culture, like this idea of like living out the gospel in a particular place but not being taken hostage by it. I mean, and along the way you've actually made a few comments that suggest quite clearly that there's a lot of ways in which the church in the West has been taken hostage very subtly and carefully over time by consumer culture. And maybe I can turn that around and say, how have you learned from the global South in terms of how the church relates faithfully and yet relevantly to its culture? And what can we learn in that posture that they have?
Yeah, I mean, the most poignant one for me is when we started getting to do these church plants in these new communities that were very, very rural, had never been touched by gospel before, were deep in animistic belief systems. They've been practicing polygamy for thousands of years. And so all of a sudden, these polygamist households come to Christ, and all their church leaders were getting together trying to figure out what do we say to these people? Like, is the godly thing now to divorce 7 of your 8 wives and cut them all off? Or what is someone who is absolutely moved by Jesus to do in this situation? And it just felt like you were walking through like this Acts 15 moment where they all get together, and you're expecting this Jerusalem council to come up with this 176-page tome on, what to do about this and that theological issue. And when that passage concludes, the church leader's like, it seemed good to the Spirit and to us that you probably shouldn't sleep with hookers. Don't go to, eat meals at, foreign temples for different idols. And, like they just have this little short list and it just seemed obvious to them. And that's sort of what I saw the African church do in that, was walk out of a meeting together with all their leaders just saying, it seemed good to the Spirit and to us. And I'm like, I don't remember the last time I even saw that in minutes at my last council meeting, right? Like we consider ourselves such great problem solvers that we're trying to do a lot of it without Christ, and without his Spirit in that. And so to just be completely much more wide open to maybe his next move is actually beyond my current peripheral vision. And it's not one of the 7 possibilities I came to the meeting with or drew out on the spreadsheet. Maybe he wants to blow our doors off and do something entirely new. And I think that they embrace that better. And I don't know if that's just the newness of gospel that over time, accumulates other things along the way that sort of hinder it, or if we're just tempted by different spirits in the Western church than the churches elsewhere are.